Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star, Mopars.com. It is a late Tuesday, right after Labor Day, and super tired. Got back in the swing of things with like a 13-14 hour day. And subsequently I thought, how can I make good use of my time tonight? And everything I was trying to do for supper went downhill. I wound up with peanut butter and jelly, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to run out here and try to have something fun and productive. So KC Tool Haul, I think this is going to be number 60. When we did the last one, it may have been out of order because there was like a couple of packing sheets that I had ordered that were separate. And, you know, like I said, this stuff has all kind of just been piling up on me because I was waiting for the twin grips to come in. I went through that story last time. I did poll you, however, and I said, in the KC Tool Hauls, what do you want to see? Like, do you want to see Knipex Plier A, B, and C and accessory D? Do you want to see Vera driver, you know, Vera wrench, whatever, you know, brand specific, or just dumps, you know, like just as I kind of typically order it, you know, Double Hazet, Gedore, VIA, just a broad range of things. And overwhelmingly, that's what everybody wanted to see. Kind of makes sense, because again, to me, short of like a specific objective, you know, if there was like a tool of the day, you know, has that 916 HP, and I was like, man, that's such a good buy, I'm just going to get a socket set. Something like that makes sense, but the rest of the time, the way I order it typically is just kind of an eclectic mix of a little of everything. So that's what we will stick with. Bit of thanks is included in every order. Currently they're shipping the number 2 Filos. They're also stamped KC Tool if you've never taken a good look at one. And if you exceed the $100 threshold, you get yourself a German tool sticker pack. So rocking the Alpha gloves here, 20% off can be yours with the discount code Lone Star. Again, I make nothing off of that. I'm just trying to help you out. Get some gloves if you need them, if you want to try them. And they've been very good to me in terms of their durability and use. So let's jump right into it. I'll just go straight down the packing list, which if you have not noticed from KC Tool, it's usually alphabetical. So right here, and I just had scissors, we have a repeat offender. Not going to spend a ton of time on it. This is from Gedore. It's part number 630. I will also tell you while I'm thinking about that, in my videos, you're going to have to click the drop-down arrow to see this, you know, past the initial description. But once you do that, you're going to have timestamps. With the timestamps, you're going to have links. If you want to spoil the entire video, you can do that. Sometimes, typically my thumbnails are accurate. Sometimes there's like items I don't show. Try to keep things somewhat interesting, you know. It's sort of, do you have the item draw the person in, you know, or do you have this boxed so it's like, ooh, what's inside? And if you want to spoil things, you can go and use my timestamps and links. And, you know, it's up to you what you do, but it is down there. So if there's an item in the thumbnail and that's all that you're interested in, you can go down, you can find the timestamp. If you like what it looks like on the bench, you like my initial impressions of it, or, you know, usage report if I've used it, you want to buy it, the link is right there, again, for your convenience. But you probably, some of you will recall that I brought this in. Now, this is sadly made in Taiwan. You wouldn't really know it until you got like to the luster. This is definitely not Gedore sockets are super nice. But when you look at this one, it's got like, the knurling's also not quite the same. Stamping looks good, it's just, this is shiny chrome. And what this is an item that's going to take a 3/8 drive ratchet to a 1/4 drive bit. So whatever you're doing, if you have the need to have that setup, you can make it happen with this item. Again, Gedore 630. Price point on this thing is $901. You can often catch that on sale. Again, country of origin, people, it's Taiwan, so be leery of that if it's a big deal or a deal breaker to you. Coming up next, this is not necessarily a repeat offender, but it's pretty cool. And we do have something very similar to it. So again, this is from Gedore. This is their SilentGear. You'll recall I brought one in as soon as I could. Super excited about it. If you did not know, it's a ratcheting screwdriver that is, you guessed it, silent. This has the 1/4" drive bit holder, and the price point on it is $32.42. It'll be their part number 2675. And if you're thinking like, whoa, that's like, I kind of remember this, you know, I thought that thing was around $70 and that's why I didn't buy it. you know, what's the deal? Have they slashed prices? Not necessarily, but what we brought in last time, let's just go ahead and throw this guy down. I had to go to the truck. I kind of wondered where I'd left this, and in particular, I was looking for that long Vera bit the other day. I could not for the life of me find it, and that's because it was here in the truck. But this looks familiar, right? Looks similar. It should, but there's a difference here, and it's not that there's a bit in place. We'll just go ahead and pull that out for comparison's sake. It's, if you look closely, you'll see that up arrow, and you think, what's the deal? What's the up arrow about? If you look closely again, you will see press. When you do that and you pull up, that's right, you've got a bit magazine. You got 12 bits. Again, you can, these are standard, you know, quarter drive bits. There's nothing special or unique. You could come in, if you want to populate it with all your Philo number 2 bit of things, you can absolutely do that. But this is the version that's around $70. This, without that 12-bit magazine, you're going to save yourself some serious cash, because you can pick it up for $32.42. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one in the packaging. Again, their part number 2675. You can see it is a 6.3 millimeter or quarter drive bit. They want you to test it. You can do that easily in the back. And again, it's, you get more appreciation for it when you have it out. But simple packaging. I don't have to cut anything. There's no staples. I love it. Let's get this guy out of here. Now, the reason I did this, number one, I love that thing. It's still weird, still very weird, in fact, not having like the, you know, ratchet sound every time you're doing something. I should mention, you've got forward, you've got reverse. If you take a detailed look there in the middle, if it looks like a padlock on a white, that's because it is. You can lock this thing. So, case in point, if I articulate it, we come in, and aggressively going over every time. It's now locked. So this is a traditional driver. You need to break something free, and then you want to switch into ratchet mode. Boom, there you go. You're off and running to the races. Is it quiet? Pretty quiet. We'll go the other way for demonstration purposes. So you're thinking like, okay, we know, you're the screwdriver guy. You got a ton of screwdrivers, but really? It's like identical. Not quite. Take a look at it, right? This is a very subtle difference. The handle geometries are going to be similar, but scaled down. Obviously, we don't have to hold, you know, 3 bits twice over in this handle, so it's a bit slimmer of a profile. It's more along the size of, say, a typical number 2 Phillips, or a number 2, or, you know, that size, a 100mm 4-inch shaft size. This is very typical of that, right? Whereas this one's kind of beefy, right? You know, some people will like that, some people won't. Both feature the hanging hole. You've got a little bit more of a finesse. You know, this, I have big hands. I prefer usually bigger items. This would not necessarily be something that you would speed through, right? Whereas this one, even with the gloved hand, a lot smoother. You can tell the difference in these, right? It's because I don't have this giant back end rubbing up against my palm and creating friction. So that's kind of your selling point. You got to ask yourself, if you go with the SilentGear, right? You know, the silent ratcheting screwdriver, what is more important to you, the smaller profile or a slightly larger profile with built-in bit storage? If you run around and you've got like a bit box with you or something and it's not a big deal, or if you use like the same 2 bits all the time, you know, this could certainly be advantageous, and you're gonna, I mean, you can get 2 of these and have $5 left over. Let's be straight up honest here. However, again, this one does offer, you know, that built-in capability. So what I was thinking I would probably do, one of these will go in a bag and the other will stay here, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that or structure it just yet. It'll probably depend what I like, but I've got to tell you, and this doesn't happen often, you know me, I complain about undersized handles and things, but I'm kind of liking this. It's more of a traditional driver. Now keep in mind, this is a ratcheting screwdriver, so it's going to change, you know, the ergonomics, you know, the approach, if you will, of the end user. But I gotta say, I kind of like this form factor a little bit better. You are giving up the bits, but, you know, it is what it is. Now, also of note here, that's a good way, you know, to showcase the shaft length. They're going to be identical. The difference is going to be subtle, very subtle, but in addition to just being that increased circumference across there, it's just going to be a tad longer, and I do mean a tad. But definitely wanted to bring that in. Again, it wasn't an item of immediate need or anything, but we will have that for comparison's sake. We'll have it for testing, and I've got to say the other deal, and it makes a big difference in my opinion. Let's see if any of you notice. Don't think of anything relevant or critical here, just think of aesthetics. You know what it is? I gotta say the aesthetics here are much preferred. I like having the black and I love the black and blue color scheme regardless, but this, offsetting it, having that sort of in the mid zone, whereas this is just a solid, you know, black grayscale scheme, I prefer this. Now if you're really feeling spendy, Hazet, of course, the time to have gotten it would have been in their advent calendar last year, but they do have, you know, basically the same thing in their color scheme, and you're looking at $88.50, basically $90. So I think it has the same 12. They might have done something different up top at some point. If that's ever tool of the day, that's when I'll bring it in. But like I say, I do a whole lot of this like on a thrifty budget. Sales, clearance, tool of the day, special promos, all that sort of a thing. And that pill has been a little too jagged to take down, I'm not gonna lie. But while we're on the topic of saving you money, anyone remember this guy, right? You know, I was curious about it. I brought it in, I don't know how many tool hauls ago. If you watch the Ram Revival, you've seen this thing in use when I assemble hose ends and everything. What I have this populated with, if you can read that, is Earls. That's right, Earls. I'll just grab the regular bottle over here. I go through this stuff. Just their assembly lube, right? The problem is, if you crack this up, that works good for large fittings. The problem is you've got a lot of volume coming behind you, okay? This is a much finer tip on the Heyco. You can actually cut that sort of, you know, to your preference. If you want it super fat, you can bring it down. Granted, your stopper won't work. But my big thing was like, I bet that's not made in Germany. We're going to have to email Colin and tell him like, hey, you know, that thing came from China. It actually is made in Germany, okay? And this is Heyco, and you know it's Heyco because of that sticker. The price on this, $262. So I liked that so well, I was going to go and buy another one here, and then I was debating getting like a whole bunch of them for work. That way people don't have an excuse for not oiling the air tools, because the Husky air tool oil, it's like a slightly bigger orifice, I think, than the Earls one, and people spill it if they use it at all, which they typically don't. That aside, what I did, I went in and I was like, yeah, I got to get another one of those. Didn't have it. It was out of stock. And so if you search oil can or oil bottle or oiler or something, you come up with a litany of items. And I was able to procure this one. And you think, oh, well, I thought you said it was out of stock. It's the same thing. Take a closer look. Does that say Heyco? No, it says Gedore. That's because you're looking at Gedore 298-02. It's 25 milliliter oil can. The catch is you're paying $496. Okay, so almost double. That was $262. Let's just call it $250. Let's call this $496, $5. It's the exact same thing. And the only catch is you could kind of, you couldn't really justify it, but if you wanted to say, well, I bought this one because, it would be because this had like the Gedore color scheme or a Gedore sticker or something. The Heyco, the one that's cheaper, is the one that comes with the sticker on the spout. So that sticker comes off all the time. By the way, one side is really well adhered, the other is not. Like 3/4 of it just flops every time I use it. But yeah, I do really like these. Again, when you get it as a virgin, you're not going to have an opening there. You're going to have to cut that. So again, you can tailor it. It's suggested that you stay within that top range where the stem is. That way you can use your stopper. I remember struggling to do this when we brought it in the first time. I'm gonna try for you. Come on. I need a lot of black down here. Let's oh, you can do it. Come on, camera. Come on. You see it. The top is the volume, the bottom is made in Germany, right? If you don't believe me, buy one for yourself. I'd recommend the Heyco because it's slightly cheaper. However, if you've got to have it or you love them, and you're okay. I mean, it's not like you're breaking the bank with this, but again, you're saving $2 and they're identical minus the sticker, which you get on the cheaper one. Give it a try, because again, it is perfect. I thought I had a die grinder on the bench and I was going to show you, but I mean, it literally drops right in. It's perfect for oiling air tools. I don't know what the intent was, but that's what I use it for, and it excels at it. So, moving on now, you're thinking like, okay, well, you know, that was cool. Then you kind of had some like cheap random stuff that we've seen. This video sucks. Does it? If it does, it's about to not suck. So, and it doesn't suck. I mean, that thing's awesome. If you don't like that, I don't know what you're doing on this channel. Well, let's just be straight up honest. But hopefully, I have your attention now. So, I believe when I bought this goes back to May. This was May 25th. I ordered and shipped. That tells me one of these was tool of the day. And there might have been a sale on something, I don't know, but I distinctly remember I always told myself, like, okay, when, you know, the Hazet pliers come on tool of the day, that's when we go. And that's what I did. And we got 2 of them here. This kind of completes my set, and I use set lightly because it's going to be 3 pliers that I have in the Hazet lineup, and that's kind of going to be it until we've used and abused these and other brands to determine what we like the best. But we'll just start. Let's go with the more expensive one. Hazet 1802M-22 heavy duty diagonal cutters, 180 millimeters and polished. So that's going to be this box right here, and we're going to use this guy. I so wanted to use these many times, and I held off. Again, a lot of times I have to use this stuff. That's like why I buy it. Sometimes I just really want to use this stuff. Let's actually cut to which side? This side, maybe. And I mean, true story, I've not even held these in my own hands, and they've been here since probably like June. So, cannot wait to use them, and yes, they do actually get used. You'll see evidence of that in a momento. Oh, these are even better. Okay. Man, it really sucks I didn't open these, because these are sweet. I don't know how they cut, obviously, but aesthetically, this is a sweet looking pair of side cutters here. Side cutters or dikes, you make the call. But check it out, made in Germany. You've got it, you know, etched, and then you've got it part of the forging, and then right there you've got Hazet on this side. This sort of is more akin to like an NWS sci-fi feel than I expected. Again, the biggest thing is, how do these cut? Again, a lot of people are really picky about pliers. There's a little, it's not necessarily that these are tight, but what I'm noticing is that as I go to shut them, it's almost like shutter, right? I don't know if that makes any sense, but picture like my fingers coming down perfectly smooth, and then there's a bump, and a bump. Scale it down and make it, you know, metal on metal. And it's not like screeching or rough, it's just, it almost feels that way. I don't know if it's like the friction point, like this is stuck open, and now that's going to close, and you cross, you know, the chasm there, and it's a little rough. I don't know if maybe it's that stop sliding in. It'll break in over time, I'm not worried about it. But obviously with these, all I can do, rightfully, is tell you that I love the feel of these in hand, that I think, personally, they look awesome. And I honestly can't tell you whether or not I endorse buying them, because I haven't cut jack diddly squat with them. So just straight up, I'm not going to sit here and tell you these are the greatest thing ever. They're intriguing. I'm excited about them. The other thing, the handles are clean. My first pair of pliers, when they came in, the handles weren't like dirty, but you know, they had like brown, if I remember right, kind of up in that area. So these look mint, and I'm stoked to have these in the arsenal. It's also neat because these are a slightly larger pair of side cutters than I typically have been getting. So I can get a little more leverage, maybe cut some heavier stuff, and be happy about that. So the other pair, which I kind of want to say this is what was tool of the day, don't hold me to it. I should probably go back, but quite frankly, I didn't feel like it. So this is the Hazet 1851M-44 heavy duty 200 millimeter combo pliers. 5663. So these are going to be just a shade bigger than what we have over there. So let's cut this on the same open side. I gotta say, the boxes, you know, they're not fancy, don't set the world on fire. I like them. That's why I have like this huge stack of empty boxes right to the side of this bench. That's just, I haven't brought myself to throw them away yet, you know. So looks like the business end is coming out first. Oh buddy. Okay, so not quite the visual, like this extra, like just little subtle things like that, man, kind of add to the wow factor. I don't know if that's just me, let me know in the comments section, but you know, if you had this pair of side cutters and you didn't have this sort of like extra, you know, flair, it's like, oh well, you know, it's that. But that's what made me go like, oh, you know, look at these suckers. Hey, this is just kind of, you know, like a big oversized pair of combination pliers. I will say, for 200mm or 8 inches, the handles sort of seem closed, right? Like, I feel like this is more spacious. Maybe it's just my eyes playing tricks on me. Nope, I don't think it is. I think it has to do with the handle shape. So, yeah, obviously with side cutters, you're going to do one task. You're going to cut, right? So that's the profile that Hazet must have determined is ideal for cutting. And then if you note, I'm trying to find an angle where you can appreciate this, where these come back down. I think they go out farther before they come in, and then these just sort of are more of like a wave. I think, I don't know how many of you stop and think about these things, but if you do and you have tools on site, you're probably going to see that. I don't care the brand, I don't care if they're Harbor Freight, cheapest thing on Amazon, Walmart special, you will see this across pliers, but it's always interesting kind of like variance manufacturer to manufacturer. It's just, personally, I would have loved, if you look at like the whale, right? You can't unsee it now. It's a whale. There's the tail, right? You see it. He's snorkeling through the ocean there. If you increased that area, maybe from the black out to here, just a little, I'm not talking like anything stupid, I'm just saying very subtly, I think that would, this is almost like I'm having to come in too far. I don't feel like I would be holding this big of a pair of pliers, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like this is more like a, you know, almost like a Knipex XS type of a thing. For example, we have the special edition code. Nope, that's not the special ones. My bad. But see what I mean? Like, that's very, very close, and these are tiny and these are big. You get what I'm kind of conveying here? So it just kind of comes down to personal preference, and again, what the manufacturer picks. But personally, I would like a little bit more of a bow there. I also, one of the things I do is I usually like traffic finger to open pliers, especially when they're stiff. And I can barely get a gloved finger in there. So yeah, I can, but it's just one of those deals. Whereas if you take a look at the side cutters, I'm much more able to get in there and, you know, flip them open. So the catch is, and one of the reasons that it's designed that way, is you're not just going to be able to cut with these, you're going to be able to grab, twist, and pull. And when you're doing that, you know, you would want more of a commanding grip. Like, see where my thumb naturally falls? And then you almost, it's not quite VDE guard, you know, but you have that like natural landing spot. Still, I just feel like if it bowed a little bit more, it would be better ergonomically, at least for me. Oh, did not know. Okay, check it out. As I was sitting here, I was looking down at the bottom section. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a grip station down here too, so that's kind of handy. If you got something like big, you can come in, and sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. Jaw design here, since we don't do much with Hazet pliers so far, it's nothing fancy, no knurling, no cross hatching, just really, really thin serrated. You've got your nub, and then you've sort of got like your landing slot. Again, nothing groundbreaking. These also, for what was dubbed polished, I thought both of these would be like a different finish. This, to me, I wouldn't really call it polished. I guess you could. Like, if you were here in person, this just almost looks like a machined finish. It's not polished. I wouldn't call it polished personally. But again, main thing here, I'm interested. I love the way these feel in hand. These, I think I can definitely work with them. But like right here, even, I'm kind of like, I'm in a crunch zone, you know. So we'll have to just use them and see what we think of them. But again, one of them I believe was on Tool of the Day, and then I think that's why you have to check the site like I do, you know, before you go to bed or whatever. You can keep tabs on like quarterly sales, or sometimes you'll just like go to the site and Hazet stuff is like 30 to 40% off, you know, and just keep tabs on that stuff and you can get yourself some deals. But how do Hazet pliers fare in my opinion? Well, this is, prior to these two, this is my only pair of Hazet pliers. Even these have like the bigger, you know what I mean? Like, I think you know what I mean, and I don't understand that. I mean, I get you want the contour, but I think we needed a bigger opening, you know, splay if you will. But these right here have seen quite a bit of use. I kind of cycle these and the Stavillas out. I'm not sure how long ago we brought them in. The thing is, when I got these brand new from KC Tool, it's not really showing up on the camera too good, but like where this is like the pristine Hazet blue, this has like brown staining on it. I don't know, all I could assume if it's like oil coming out of the joint, you know, during shipment or transit or something. The other thing that was weird, and I think my Stavillas did it too, and this year we have been weirdly humid here. I use that very sheepishly because we're typically like a desert, okay, in terms of humidity. But nothing else is really flash rusted, but like these and the Stavillas did. And I thought that was strange, but if we come in, you can kind of see it there. But again, these have been used quite a bit, and I mean, that doesn't help anything. I'm not saying these should look pristine because these are now old and used. But if you look at the jaws, I'm trying to get you a look at the teeth here. Dun, dun, dun. I don't remember what I did that got that nasty talc looking crud on them, but it was something. This side's actually a little cleaner than the other one, but they've honestly held up pretty good aside from that. Again, I feel like a lot of this staining up at the top, specifically at the top, and you can go back if you find that tool haul or know it, you'll probably see me complain about it, but like all this dirt and grease and grime on this part, that's me, that's user inflicted, but as delivered it had stuff up there. But you can see the rust I'm talking about. And again, I mean, where I'm at, yeah, that's weird, okay? That's like really weird. It's not like these live outside or, you know, have a harsh life or anything. But in terms of like grabbing and pulling, I've had zero complaints with them, and that's what matters to me the most. So, right now, I know I love these. Aesthetically, these are sweet looking pliers. And then I'm kind of on the fence on these, but again, if they work well, they work well, and that's what matters the most. So I'll be working these two in. That's the screwdrivers. We're gonna go like overboard, control factors, exact same tests, all that crud. The pliers, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm just using them, and I'll report back over time. That's my approach with those, right? Car just timed out on me, but what I believe I was trying to say is the thing is, Hazet's price point is so astronomically high. Typically, sometimes you can find really good sales, really good deals, but if you take like Channel Lock or Klein, and you can readily get that anywhere, you know, you don't have to pay freight or order it online or whatever. If you do, you can get even better deal a lot of times. And then you come online, and generally speaking, Knipex is a safe bet. The problem for other plier manufacturers is Knipex, although the perception is super, super high and well perceived, they also have like a very reasonable price point, especially compared to some other brands. And realistically, every brand has a very attractive price point compared to Hazet. So you don't really, I believe, have, at least probably here in America, outside of maybe like Volkswagen and Audi super dealer tech people or something, or collectors, you're not going to have like a ton of Hazet tools in the wild, you know, like you're not going to walk in some guy's shop and see these, you know, at every station or something. It would be sort of probably more limited to people like myself. So that kind of hurts as well. But eventually we'll do like a comparison. I've got several. This almost looks like a linesman plier. It's so big. But we'll kind of compare and contrast these. But again, I can't wait to use these, and I'm going to use these and see what we think of them. Now, we are not done. We have one more item, and I'm also super excited about this, and I've wanted to kind of, I'm not going to lie, take this to work with me to see if it will pull staples from boxes. Doesn't sound exciting, but I have to pull a lot of staples from boxes. Currently, I'm using a little VIT driver, and then my channel lock pincers. I have real good luck with those. But this was a design. I think a lot of people don't know about these. And it's not this, okay? It's not just plain Jane Knipex. It's going to be this right here. I have not used these. I have opened these and looked at them. I have not used them. I held off. Part number 0822 145. You're thinking that's a weird length. Well, 5.7 inches. All right. Price point on these is $40.49. These are very unique pliers. These are going. I'll just pour it out. Okay. Toss that to the side in my ever-growing pile of boxes I can't bring myself to throw away. You're looking at these and you're like, oh, those are plain. And you're like, what? What? Wait, what? He was right. What's going on here? Ladies and gentlemen, these are combination needle nose pliers. As many, like German tool haul videos and stuff as I consume, and as much as I've, looked around and perused websites, you just don't see these very often. I think people are kind of, like I said, this is sort of an under-the-radar tool. And you can see my attraction. You should know from the early days of the channel, I love needle nose pliers. They're kind of what set themselves apart from other pliers. These are the 318 CBs over here. Still use them, just not as often now that we have other offerings. This is sort of a take this and take that and mix them up, and you get the Super Knipex combination needle nose pliers, right? I'm not going to bore you with tons of details, and again, I've sadly not used these, so I can't speak on personal stories. Looks like you've got a slot maybe for wire pulling or something, or I guess wire, like steel rod type of a thing. Aviation cable, whatever floats your boat. No cross hatching. That's, if you're curious why this is still one of my favorite pairs of pliers, it's the crosshatch. If more people would crosshatch, I'd be a happy little guy over here. But yeah, see that section right up there? Beautiful. Again, I don't know why. I don't know why people don't do that or offer it. Have two variants, if you will. I think we're about 5 minutes away from the end, so I don't want to spend a ton of time here. I will say, and some of you may have thought the same thing, this is also a machine finish, but it looks more polished. Whereas, like, see what I mean? Like, they're similar, but, like the Knipex just kind of glistens more. And that's not a knock on the Hazet, aside from the fact that they were polished, Typically, that's not my style, but, it is what it is. So, what I want to know from you before we have to go, did you know, be honest, did you know about the combination needle nose? If you did, and I presume you have them, how do you like them? Do you find they're your most used plier? Do you find they're handy in specific situations? Do you still gravitate toward a standard pair? In addition to grabbing and pulling, of course, we can cut with these, but again, my main thing is I've got a needle nose tied in with kind of a regular plier that could come in and grab like small nuts and fasteners, and I can cut wires or staples if I get really mad. So, this is the pair that fell in antifreeze. They are still, I've done everything I know to do to them. It's mainly down in the bottom region, but I've done the brake cleaner. I don't know. They're not near as bad as they were, but those have stayed ridiculously slick. It was a Hote antifreeze, if you're curious. Do everything you can to not drop your pliers in Hote antifreeze. It's the pink stuff. But at least with Chrysler products. So, but right here, you kind of, again, if I slide this over, you just fit the niche right there. Again, we're gonna run out of time, and I don't have any more stuff I can delete because I haven't gotten to edit a couple of videos for the Ram Revival. That said, I heard you, I pulled you. You said I want to see a mix of brands, and that's what we delivered. Again, I've got my ticket right here. And, boom, just went right down the packing list for you. So. Again, I cannot wait to get these things in use. These two, I'm going to actually, I'll switch this to the truck because I'm going to be back in wiring stuff, so I can get this guy to the box, and then I'm going to see where I want each one to be. Same thing, I'm going to try to use these as often as I can to see if I like them or don't like them. I'll know pretty soon. Very excited about the side cutters, not going to lie. And these, ooh, I've waited and waited. The weird thing is they don't offer those in many different sizes. Again, we'll kind of come back, circle back to all this stuff, whatever you want to say, and update you, but I'm super excited about these as well. So with that said, let me know if you have used any of these items today. What do you think of them? What's your experience? Does anything catch your eye? Let's not forget the little guy. What are you interested in? What are you going to pull the trigger on? Any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. The website is LoneStarMopars.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. Once again, big thanks to everybody who gave me your feedback and thoughts on the grab bag versus like all Hazets, you know, type of a deal. I heard you, and that's what we will continue to run with. If you have a differing opinion, feel free to leave that, but just know you are vastly outnumbered. So it's one of those things, you know, it's I consider all sides, but sometimes you just got to go swim with the majority, you know, and then I'll skedaddle off and do my own thing. But for the time being, that seems to be the overwhelming, I mean, it's not even close, so overwhelming consensus is not an exaggeration there. Let's see here, the TIG welding pole. If you haven't checked that one out and it's still active, it should be. Be sure to do so. I was looking for like opinions on a TIG welder because you cannot find a video on a TIG welder that has not either been A, sent out to a person, or B, substantially discounted. And that means I can't trust those people, especially then when you see that same person with like every other brand of TIG welder. It's just, it kills me. And I will buy my own, by gosh, and if it sucks, I'm going to tell you. If it's great, I'm going to tell you. If it does what I need it to, and it might suck, but I don't know because I'm not articulate enough to be able to know the limitations of the machine, I'll just straight up tell you that too. But yeah, very difficult to find anything unclouded there. Similarly, we should be very close, if not already, to 5K. I promised we would do a Matco tool haul. Anything from them you want to see me bring in, you think would compare well, if you're like, oh, Matco has something like that, tell me. If it's reasonable, I'll try to pull something. We'll get it in. I've got a few items I for sure want. Open to suggestions, so feel free to throw those out. But yeah, this was another KC tool haul. Not sure on the number because there's like a lot of stuff out of order, and then I have one that I haven't ever edited, and I need to do that. But I think this is about to time out. I'm gonna go. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have yourself a fantastic weekend. I'll catch you back here for more action from the shop.